Good afternoon, everyone. Country Flyboy here, and today we're in Kerbal Space Program. Now, this is a game where you get to build rockets and fly them, but there's also a space plane hangar. Let me show you what I mean. So this game has this little planet, the planet of Kerbin, where the Kerbals live. We play as the Kerbals. The space center is right around here somewhere, and we build and design rockets to go to one of the two moons that orbit Kerbin, or one of the asteroids that are not far away, or any one of the planets in the system of Kerbin. It's an entire solar system. It's not to scale. It is not the same size. Like, Kerbin's not the same size as Earth. It's smaller. Its gravity is less, but you still have to contend with real physics. So orbital physics as well as atmospheric physics are also modeled. So yeah, if you haven't played this game, I highly recommend it. This is something I'm pretty sure flight simmers will enjoy. Now, we're in sandbox mode right now, and when you're in sandbox mode, in normal gameplay you have the entire space center to work with, but in sandbox mode, we're really only interested in the runway, the launch pad, the space plane hangar, the vehicle assembly building, and the tracking station. That's really the only buildings we care about. In normal career mode, all these other buildings do come into play, but we're interested in the space plane hangar today, because we're going to design a plane. I have flown many an airplane on this channel, but today we're going to design one. We are going to design an airplane. So the first thing we have to do is put down a control cockpit. Now, we have a selection of cockpits already, the Mark 1, the Mark 1 inline. We have some command pods as well. We also have the Mark 2 inline, the Mark 2, Mark 3, stuff like that. I'm thinking we're going to design a medium-sized plane today. Let's go with the Mark II cockpit, and we'll have that at the front. And as for the rest of the fuselage, I'm thinking, do we want to go with a cargo bay? Because we can go with a cargo bay. Now, it is designed for space stuff, so that's essentially a shuttle cargo bay there, but we can go with other stuff. I'm thinking a small, relatively small aircraft built for transporting cargo for the Kerbals. That's what this aircraft is going to be built for. So let's go with aerodynamic, sort by size. We need a tail section now. I think it's an aerodynamic. Tail connector, yeah. Well, oh, you know what? We need the downsize thing first. That's under structural, I believe. Is that it? Let's try that one first, but we need to flip it around. Let me turn. Oops. Let me turn snapping on. Now flip it around. That way I can make sure everything is straight. There we go. There we go. Just had to find the right spot for it. So there we have our main aircraft fuselage. It's just going to be a simple cargo plane to transport rocket parts for the Kerbals. Pretty simple. Alright, now let's go ahead and put the tail fin on. That's one of the more important parts. That'll be our vertical stabilizer. The big S is overkill, I believe. Yeah, I think that's a little too much. So we want something smaller than that. There is a regular airplane tail fin somewhere. There we go. That looks a little too big. We'll move this over to the side for now. Alright, so that's a little too big. Delta wing, swept wing. Just gotta find tail fin. That look good? What do you guys think? Put that away. That looks like it would work. Think a V-tail might work? A V-tail does look pretty badass. Alright. Now, I'm going to have it display the center of gravity. This thing here, it acts as a fuel tank. So we have liquid fuel and oxidizer. We're probably not going to need an oxidizer. So I want to note where the CG is. A little bit of info with airplane design here. Where the CG is matters because you want the wings to be roughly where the CG is. Let me just plop on a pair of wings here to show you what I mean. So there's a term called mean aeronautical chord. And what that is basically at the wing root, the tip of the leading edge to the tip of the trailing edge is mean aeronautical chord. You want the CG to fall somewhere within the mean aeronautical chord at all times. So we need to look at our fuel tank here and see where the CG falls when it's empty and where the CG falls when it's forward. We want that to stay within the wings. Otherwise, we're going to have a really hard time controlling the plane. So I think we need to move these wings a little bit forward. Now, of course, moving the wings will also affect where the CG is. Let's fill the tanks up. As long as it stays there, I think we need to move them a little bit back. Right there. But that looks like a good design as far as where the wings are going to go. They do not have control surfaces on them, although the tail fin does. We want this to control pitch, yaw, but not roll. And let's deploy them real quick. Make sure they are going like they should. I might put some forward ones to stabilize them. In fact, let's go ahead and do that. Can we? Does that look weird right there? Let's go with something smaller. Will the canard? The canard's a little too big. Winglet. AVR8 winglet, maybe? That looks pretty neat. Now, one of the reasons you want your wings where the CG is not just for balancing reasons, but because the aircraft will pitch, roll, and yaw about the CG. The longitudinal, vertical, and lateral axes, they all go through the CG. If you can almost imagine the plane is suspended in the air by a string, that's where the string will be tied. So you want your wings there because your wings have the ailerons on them, and that's what causes the plane to turn. So we're going to go with some of these right here. They seem to have all three control surfaces on them as well already. Now, one thing, we also need to worry about where our control surfaces for pitch and yaw are. Notably for pitch, it needs to be at either the forward or the back, as far away from the CG as you can reasonably put it, because it acts like a seesaw. You want this to pitch. If these deployed this way, that would force the nose up and cause the plane to climb. Whereas they go the other way, it'll force it down. If they were in the middle, then they wouldn't work right, because you can almost imagine it like a seesaw where this is the fulcrum. Alright, so these are going to do our pitch. I think... Do we want these to do pitch? Let's put these on pitch and yaw and put these on pitch and roll. Yeah. Now we need to put some control surfaces on these. We have aeroplane control surface. Just slap a couple of them on there. Might be too big. Does that look good? That look good? Got one on both sides? Yeah, that looks good. Alright, let's deploy them. Make sure they don't interfere with anything. And we only want these to control roll. There we go. Alright, now we need engines. We have liquid fuel. The only engines in this game, unfortunately, are rocket engines and jet engines. There is a mod that will add turboprops, all other sorts of stuff to it, but I tried to download it and couldn't get it to work. It kept crashing the game. I'll have to look into that. The only mod I'm running right now is the one mod that I think you should have, when playing this game because it makes your life a lot easier, and that is Kerbal Engineer. But you can see it working down there. It tells me the mass and the delta V and all that fun stuff, which comes more into play with building rockets. So, what type of engine do we have? We need a jet engine. Okay, we can have an intake. These are all basic jet engine. We have ramjets. Now, these things are freaking humongous, though. Shot cone intake, Weasley turbofan. That's a little on the large size. Might just go with the Juno, the basic jet engine. Because if I put, let's say, yeah. But I wanted to do those intakes. Where were those intakes at? Air brakes. Set them to the side because I'm going to need them later. Where was those intakes? Yeah, adjustable ramp intake. So I was thinking something like that. But we have nowhere, real place to put it. Is that? Yeah, that's a fuel tank as well. Let's see, I'll put that right there. I need an intake. Oh, that's a nose cone. Circular intake? That's too big. We'll have to go with the small one. Small circular intake. Yeah, I think we're gonna have to go with that. Just for the... I think... I have never built a successful plane in this, so I'm thinking... simplicity should be the best policy here. Let's adjust these. There we go. Make sure the center of thrust is still aligned. Looks good. Alright, so we got control surfaces, we got engines. Need an air brake somewhere, but air brake's kind of big. It's going to interfere with my... Ooh, I know where we can put that, actually. Right back here. Turn off symmetry. Put that right in the middle. And then we can just rotate that around. That one part is on backwards. That's why everything has to get rotated when I attach it to that. Now I'm sitting here thinking, I put that on and I don't think I have a control assigned to that. That'll be my air brake. Let's turn that authority limiter down though. I don't think we need it to go that big. Let's turn it down to 25. Alright, so we have an air brake. Let's put landing gear on this thing. Alrighty, so landing gear is underground. What would look nice? Well, we do have this thing, which is basically Cessna 172 nose wheel. We do have landing struts. Let's go with medium landing gear on the nose. There we go. Now, the placement of landing gear is also very important because it has to be relative to the CG as well. So we're going to go with medium landing gear again. If you want a tailwheel airplane, obviously you'd have the main set up here. But for a tricycle gear airplane, to make our lives easier, we need the gear further back. It has to be behind the CG a little bit. It already looks like it's at the right height. Alright, I want to turn the steering off on these, increase their brakes, and turn their lights on because I want them to spawn with the lights on. Steering disabled on this one, but decrease its brakes. Alrighty, so I think now we have a working aircraft. Let's see, we got engines, we got control surfaces, we got landing gear. Do these engines have reverse thrust capability? I don't think they do. No. It doesn't appear like they do. Now, we can put stuff in the cargo bay. That is, of course, this aircraft's job. It is built to transport cargo for the Kerbals, particularly rocket cargo. I'm going to throw in a few extras, though, that make life a little bit easier for everybody involved. First, we're going to put in a battery. Let's throw in 2 of those right about here. That'll give me some extra juice. Once the engines are up and running, though, it should generate electricity on its own. Now, we're also going to throw some things on the airframe to make it look a little bit cooler. I'm going to close the cargo bay for now. I'm looking at this thing and, oh, there's the door. Okay. So we're going to throw some stuff on here to make the aircraft look a little neater. What I like to put on there is the thermometer. I like to put that somewhere towards the front. Probably right about here would be the best place. Alright, I believe we are ready to go. So we're going to name this, and we're going to name this the Space Master. X1. Space Master X1. I'm not going to give it a description. Here is the Space Master X1, and we're going to decide on a crew. Valentina shall be our pilot, and we'll put Jebediah, who's also a pilot, in there as well. We don't need Bob. Oh no, I got that backwards. You and you. And I don't know which one's going to be flying, but we'll have our 2 best and also our only 2 test pilots on this ship. We're going to save this, and we're going to test fly it. So, clicking launch for the test flight. Right, as soon as it spawns in, I'm holding down the brakes so it doesn't roll anywhere. And immediately see that our air brake is deployed. So let's go ahead and get rid of that. We're going to give a flight control test. Pitch. That's working. That's full up. That's full down. Roll left. Whoa! She's got some spunk, doesn't she? Oh, now she's bouncing everywhere. Alright. Ooh, oh, the air brake works with the wheel brakes. It's at this point I realize that I did not set up the staging correctly. What does that do? So I need to set that up now. Engines get deployed first. I move these up to stage 0. Shoots down here. Since I don't know what these do, we'll move them up there and we'll test them last. Alright, and throttle. We're ready. Alright, I'm going to start the engines. All 4 engines have started. So let's hope she flies. I've never built a successful plane in Kerbal. There we go. And it's through test flying that we figure out what speeds. We're at 50 meters per second now. Whoa, she's up. Okay, so somewhere between 50 and 75. Gear up. And I'm happy to report she's pretty stable. My hands are off the controls. She wants to fly pretty straight by herself. SAS is not even turned on. Alright. I'm going to throttle back a bit for a climb so that we're not burning through all our fuel. Whoa, 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 she's got some authority to her. Okay. Let's make these a little less effective. Yeah. Let's turn them down a little bit more. There we go, 25 looks good. Whoa, about screwed that up. Let's turn these down as well. 50. Yep, that looks good to me. And what about these? Turn you guys down to 50, 42, whatever, close enough. Alright, everything is working on her. Have an air brake. That works. Alright, let's turn her back around for a landing back at the Space Center. So now that we know she flies, it's time to screw her up by putting some cargo in there. And I think for our first successful maiden top flight, there's another airfield on the island to the east of here. Right over there. Old abandoned airfield. So we're gonna head that way. Alright, we're gonna put our air brake out, help us lose some speed. Let's go from, oh god, you can't see squat from this cockpit. It looks neat though. Alright, we're on approach. Gear down. She rotated between 50 and 75, so I'm going to say around 100 to 75 meters per second is a good approach speed. She doesn't have any flaps on her because we ran out of room on the wing. Not that I think you could put flaps in this game either. You probably need that mod I was talking about earlier to do that. Alright, coming up, runway 27 at Kerbal Space Center. Oop, she's floating. Wow, she stops pretty quickly. Don't even really need the drogue chutes, but I'll keep them on there. I'll keep the drogue chutes on there just because I like them. Alrighty then. Slow it down a bit more. And we'll just go ahead and taxi on in. There's launch control there. Just park right here, I guess. Alrighty, looks good. Now, just out of curiosity, what do these do? They jettison the engines. Okay. Now we know. Alright, we're going to revert back to the spaceplane hangar. Now we have a successful test flight. The first thing we're going to do is rearrange the staging. I like the way those hang off of the wings, so I'm not going to get rid of those hard points. But this will be like an emergency procedure. You can emergency jettison of the engines. Alright, so let's move engines. That needs to be first on staging. Let's move the parachute down to here. They need to be second, since they're like emergency stopping. Alrighty then. Now I think we're good to go as far as the plane is concerned. My first successful aircraft build. It worked like a dream. We're going to open up the cargo bay now. And let's give her a payload. Okay, so under payload, since it's built to carry rocket engines, I think Kerbal's gonna order 2 hammer rockets to be carried to the Space Center. And we're gonna give them want 2 hammer rockets. I'll have to put them, I'm gonna have to rotate it so it's in the actual launch bay or the cargo bay. There we go. And just a real quick check, does that get covered? Yes, it does. Alright, so first thing we're going to want to do is drain, give the thrust limiter 0 and drain the fuel out of that. We don't want that thing lighting up. It's on the final stage. So I'm going to copy that, and we're going to put 1 more in here. Now, since this is part of the craft now, let's check the payload. I'm going to move that further away from the door. There we go. Move it down just a little bit. And there we go. Cargo is on board. We're going to transport these 2 rocket engines somewhere. I don't know where. Alright. Looks good to me. Just real quick, I want to verify that second rocket engine, yes. Just make sure. I don't want to accidentally hit the staging button and have those things light up, because those are solid rocket boosters and you cannot turn them off once they are on. Alrighty then. Looks good to me. I think the aircraft is ready to go. We're going to save it, and then we're going to leave. So, to actually... Now, that flight we did earlier was just testing. To actually do a mission, we have to go to the runway, and then select one of the ships. Now, we have a couple of these that come with the game that are just built for us. I have some that I've built. Here's the Wilbur X1. Basically a little Cessna Citation. And here's the wannabe 737. I'm going to delete that. You never saw it. In fact, how do I delete that? I can't delete it from here. Oh yeah, I can. Delete vessel. Yeah, you never saw that. Alright, it never existed. Space Master X1. We have 2 separate stages of that. Alright, well, we're going to go with this one because it's got 44 parts. We're going to delete that one. We want the one with 44 parts because that's the one with the rocket engines in it. Alright, available crew. I want Jebediah and Bill. Yeah, we'll take an engineer along with us this time. Launch. I will consider this a successful flight if we go to the island, land, pick up the rocket payload, the rocket engines that are being built there for us, and then return safely and unload the rocket engines. Alright, now, obviously the rockets they're already in there, but I can't really do anything about that, so we're just going to pretend that we're going to go pick them up from their construction facility on the island to the east of here. Alrighty, so engines on. Jebediah and Bill are ready to go. Throttling up. Brakes off. Full throttle. There's 50 meters per second. Rotate. Positive brake gear up. I think I may have struck the tail. Now, it is a relatively short flight to get to that island. So we're going to turn towards the island now. And if I remember correctly, the airfield is right there on that little flat bit. Don't want to get too high, so I'd say we go about 2,000 meters and then settle in for cruise. We're on a mission to go get rocket parts. We're building a rocket. Alrighty, coming up on 2,000 meters. Start leveling off. meters. Throttle back for cruise. I wish there was a way to assign trim. I don't know if there is, if you can assign trim to a key or not. Alright, Jebediah and Bill are cruising. I hope one of them bought snacks. Cruises at around 225 meters per second. That ain't bad. Alright. I can see the runway. Let's go ahead and turn towards it and throttle back. Get ready for our descent. Then bring the air brake out a bit. Help us slow down. Alrighty then. Turn on to the final. Oh, I forgot to change the effectiveness back in the spaceplane hangar. Any changes you make during a flight are temporary. You gotta do them in the spaceplane hangar if you want them to be permanent. Alright, below 150 meters per second. Gear down. I could really use some frickin' nose trim right now. Elevator trim would be nice. But we are lined up. Pitch looks good. Glide slope looks good. Yeah, 100 meters per second seems like a good approach speed in this aircraft. This doesn't look like a very level field, does it? Yeah, it definitely looks like it's got some slope to it. And all of a sudden, we're way too low. Parachutes, parachutes. That's why we brought them. Yeah, I wasn't sure. Now I'm glad I bought them, because I'm not sure if this thing... I know it can stop on the runway at KSP, but... looks like it does need them for this airfield, that's for sure. Come to a complete stop, so those despawn. Alright, we're going to head over to the parking area over there. In one of these shelters. Not really, I'm just going to park next to one. We'll shut down the engines. There we go. Alright, holding the brakes down. Let's shut down. Oh, can we? No, we got to click on the engine itself. Shut down. Shut down. Shut down. And shut down. Turn off the lights. We don't want the battery dying. Brakes off. Does it roll anywhere or does it stay put? Cool. Alright, open up the cargo bays. And Bill is going to oversee the loading of the cargo whilst Jebediah gets out and goes for a walk. Alrighty. Come on down, Jebediah. There we go. Yeah, probably should put a ladder on this thing. Alrighty then. It's at this point I realize it is rolling forward slightly, so they better get that cargo loaded quick. Go, Jebediah, go! We're we're gonna go on a quick explore. Let's go check out the ATC tower. I wonder if my jetpack has enough oomph to get up there. I think for my next video in this game, we'll definitely try building a working rocket. Ooh, you can get inside this thing. Jebediah is in the tower. So definitely an abandoned airfield. It's got shit growing in it. Alrighty, that's that. Second. Alrighty, now we're back here on the bottom. Cargo loading should be done by now. Bill! Oh wow, you definitely have been rolling forward. It's at this point I hope I can get back in the aircraft. Ooh, we might have issues. Nope, I need to pause real quick. We might have a slight issue. I can't get back in my aircraft. I did not think this through. I did not think this through. There's gotta be a ladder. Oh, I forgot to. I need a ladder. Jebediah fell down like 6 flights of stairs, and now he can't get back in his plane. Oh man. I need to. Bob, if you're in there, step on the brakes, Bob. It's rolling forward. It's gonna hit that, and then it's gonna blow up, and I gotta get back. Oh shit! Oh! That stopped it. We can at least. There we go. Hold it in place, Jebediah. Is it working? Ha! That worked. Jebediah's in a bad spot, though. Alright. Let's go back to Jebediah, get him out of the way. He might just have to stay here whilst Bill starts the engines back up. Nope. Start the engine. Activate. Engine 1. Engine 2. Engine 4. And engine 3. All up and running. Nose wheel lights on. Go ahead and close the cargo bays. Well, the loading is done, but Jebediah can't get back in. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna rev the engines up. Turn this bubby around. And we're gonna park her over here on this pavement and hope to God nothing breaks. I should be able to get in there no problem. And hopefully, if we park her like this, she won't go rolling anywhere. Alright, so we're going to shut down the engines and realize that we still have no way of getting Jebediah back on board. But at least she's still rolling. Can we toggle parking brake? Oh, that works? Holy shit. Alrighty. So that's how you do it. You just click that instead of using the toggle on my joystick. Alrighty, so now we got that locked in place. We can try to figure out a way to get old Jebediah back on board. Looks like we got some rocket stuff over here, though. I want to go check that out real quick. Turn my light on. What we got over here? Got a rocket engine, a fuel tank, and some sort of command pod. Ooh. Oh, if only those engines had a reverse thrust. If those engines had reverse thrust on them, I could feasibly use this to get Jebediah back on board. Ooh, he fell on his face again. But they don't. Alright, turn that light off. We don't really need it. So I need a way to get Jebediah on board. And stop smashing him into stuff. I think we're going to need another plane. We're going to have to recover this one. Alright, and now we need to put a ladder on it. And that's what we were missing, a ladder. We need a way for them to get back on board once they go out. Alright, so while we're back in the spaceplane hangar, we're going to go ahead and make those adjustments that we made in the test flight. These don't need to be nearly as effective as they are. Alright, she's done. Well, we know she flies. We just forgot to put a ladder on there, so I'm going to call it on that video. On this video, we've built a successful plane. At least this is the first time I have built a successful plane. I'll go ahead and show you my other ones, though. I deleted that one because it was terrible and it was a monstrosity. But here is the Wilbur. And as you can see, this was my first attempt at building an airplane. And yeah, she didn't do too good. You know what? I might just show you how bad this plane is.